Jim Parcell. Riverbend Maple Cove is our sugar bush. We are located here in Millersburg, Indiana. Anybody that wants frame of reference, we're about 15-20 miles south of Michigan, kind of the northeast corner. So we are, I don't know, we're probably 5 years in now. 5-6 years in. We started with 3 taps, moved to 12, moved to 50 some. Now we're up to, I think it's 146, almost 150 taps. And we're doing everything the struggle bus way, but it's fun. So the only way we can make this all possible is we run Carl Nyland from the RO bucket. We run his RB25 system. Paid the extra for the 10 gallon per day or hour, whatever. Upgraded membrane. So technically it's a 50 gallon per hour unit. That's at a 50-50 flow rate. And we step on it super hard. We run it up to about 115, 120 psi in that. We're taking sap from 2.5% straight up to 10% in a single pass. It is super slow, but it's saving us a lot of time on boiling, and in a little bit you're gonna see why. Yeah, I mean, you're here, and we use Carl's stuff a lot. He's priced right for the small guy. Phenomenal customer service. I mean, I called him at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night because I had trouble with my pump for this. This is his filter system. And that's just basically a water boiler is all it really is. And then all his goodies that go with it. There's I can get it out there. But that's the actual filter. There's a Orland filter socket goes in there. And you still use DE, diatomaceous earth. Yeah, it's great for a small producer. Anybody struggling with a niter, absolutely buy it. It is worth every penny. Anyway, moving on over here, there's the heart of the operation. It is a 16 by 23 Smoky Lake flat pan with their arch under it, propane fired. It is rated for 20-25 taps, and we're stuffing 100, almost 150 through it. And that's why I said that the only way we're doing it is with that RO from Carl.
That's got to be a record on this unit.
Might be. I don't know. It'd be nice if they'd be like, here, take a divided pan. But no, so it'll evaporate. With it concentrated in the higher temps, we're 5.5 to 6 gallons an hour. I
Wow.
think they say it'll do 5, and we timed it with our we call it our head tank. It's actually a brewer's pot, holds 10 gallons. We timed it out in an hour, and we were between 5 and 6 gallons. So that was phenomenal. Which makes it great because these 100-pound propane tanks are not cheap to fill. So, yeah, it's been good.
What do you like about it the most?
Price point was a big thing. Price point, because we started in turkey fryers, a turkey fryer. Started with one that had like a little 4-inch pan, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I was filling that thing, and it was getting aggravating. Well, then I was like, bigger pot's better. Well, it held like 5 gallons, so then it takes forever to get it to boil. Then I learned to keep it low, so I was right with the first pan, but surface area. The more space and the shallower you get it, the faster you're going to boil. So we moved to their pan. The first year I bought the pan, and then I bought a 3-burner camp stove off of Amazon. Spend the money and buy the arch that comes with it, because going with the 3-burner camp stove, the amount of fuel you waste because the pan does not fit the burner is a waste. Smoky Lake has this nice little 3-burner arch. It's got 3 torches. I don't know the ratings on them, I just know it really cooks. But the boil that we achieved with this arch, keeping all the heat under the pan with, and the torches I believe are rated the same as that 3-burner camp stove. But just keeping all the heat inside underneath the pan, I mean this thing's up to a roaring boil fast. I think it's less than 10 minutes. But just that alone increased speed, efficiency, fuel consumption was way less. Only real drawback is it's a short distance. There is no baffle or damper or anything, so you do lose a lot of heat through here. So possibly add a damper later. I don't know yet.
Yep.
We're always tweaking on things, trying to make it better.
Yep. Trying to hold some of that heat underneath. Yep.
And one way, I mean, a lot of guys do it. We use copper coil this year. Coming off of that, trying to use up some of the heat that we're wasting. So we're preheating coming in here. I don't lose the boil. It will. I mean, I can if I open the valve too far. But if you're doing the job correctly, you won't lose the boil.
Yep.
And dribbling. Last year, I used that 5-gallon bucket that's up there by that. Right here. Works great for head tank, for starter unit. Managing the ball valve is a bit of a pain, and I was using a straight section of copper tubing, which just set like that. Well,
Yep.
Head pressure makes a big difference, and with not having a good boil going, it was like droplets going. So this year, with the new arch and putting the coil on there, I never lost a boil. So
Wow.
It was great.
It's amazing how much that little bit of copper and stuff can make a difference.
Yeah, it'll actually, the heat transfer, I know it's a loose coil, just I think that sets about right there.
Okay.
Which is not closed by any means.
No.
It's a pretty good dribble going in there. It would back it up to here to where this temperature gauge would be up to about 80, 70, 80.
Wow.
So, yeah, it worked out really well. Can't really knock it at all. We run, this is from Plymouth Sugar Works. It's basically an electronic temperature probe. A cheap entryway to get in. Works really well. The problem I had was I didn't want to calibrate a dial thermometer regularly. This thing, we calibrated at the beginning of the season, make sure it's right, and I've only made one adjustment to it since I've owned it.
I see.
So it's measuring the barometric pressure, which changes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it change 3-4 times in just a night.
Wow. Yeah.
Especially, well, even days like today, we got nasty weather.
Yep.
It changes, and that makes a big difference when it's
Yeah, and you can tell when the boil just kind of stops or just stays there, and then you get a big draw or something.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yep, it's crazy.
So, yeah, my wife, well, I won't knock on her. She didn't think it was necessary at first, but she really does enjoy that. It's the simplicity of knowing where things are at, when things need to come off. We've all benefited from it.
Is this Smoky Lake as well?
No, this is Sunrise Evaporator. I just bought it so I didn't have to keep setting stuff over there. It doesn't really fit this pan. I think, and I don't really know how it works. I think you can actually set it this way in there.
That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
I've been using it wrong all season. I wasn't sure, so I just set it on here. It was just a good spot to hold stuff. And it still did keep stuff warm that way around.
Yeah, because you got heat coming out the front here, so.
Yeah, it was, now I know. But that is just a splurge for myself.
They're nice to have.
So, yeah.
You got the sight glass on there?
Yep. Yeah, pan will hold 4 gallons at a depth of 2 inches, which Smoky Lake says that's the optimum for this pan.
Okay.
I have ran it down at 1.5 inches, and I start to panic because I don't want to warp a pan. I don't want to burn a pan. Everybody says you'll do it at some point in time, and knock on wood, we haven't got there yet. So, yeah, it's simple. It runs well. The nice part is you run out of concentrate for the night. You just turn the valve off, walk away, go home. I'm not having to worry about extra coals to shovel out. I don't need to worry about flooding my pan. The heat burners go off, the heat's off. So, in my opinion, that's why that's nice. Anybody, I can pretty much have anybody come in here and start this and get it going for me. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
My wife helps, my kids help. Sometimes my folks are around. So, something simple that was easy to do for everybody was beneficial in my
Yes.
opinion. So, yeah.
So your syrup this year,
Yeah.
how many boils did you have, and
Let's see.
how'd it look?
Boils, we drew off a total of a little over 4 times, but it ended up we did, so I do mine in sessions as I filter. Filter and bottle. And we had a total of 4, which is kind of funny. At almost 3 times the taps as last year, I had 4 last year. It was a downer season. I ended up in the 12.5 to 13 gallons of syrup for the season. Definitely not great, not what I was anticipating. I'm going to say, comfortably say, I'm 50%. So,
Is that for everybody in the area, would you say, or
Pretty
about
much.
50% crop?
I'm going to say so. I haven't, my neighbor down the road, he does about 1,200, 1,500 taps on bags. He hasn't really said. He pushed it way longer than anybody else in the area, but I started way before anybody else in the area. So, I mean, my very first run, I tapped in on February 2nd, and that was February the 8th, and golden syrup, which is...
That's beautiful.
That's the first I've ever...
And that was all filtered and bottled with Carl's setup.
Yep.
So that's the
Yeah.
type of results you can get there.
So, you want a real... I don't know if the other ones are settled out now, but...
Oh yeah, but there's sediment in there. So
Yeah.
that's last year's without
That's
Carl's.
last year's. That's running Orland filters and pre-filters, cones.
Yeah.
Well, okay, anybody that is using cone filters and is my size, if you don't have them, buy cone filter optimizer. It is nice. It increases the surface area you're filtering. But I got frustrated using, I mean, we'd put the Orland in and then we'd stuff 6 to 7 pre-filters in. And it,
I feel like there's so much syrup gets trapped in
Oh,
them.
my
I feel
word.
like
The Orland filter, I'd get done with it, I'd have gloves on, and I'm trying to squeeze it out, burning the snot out of my fingers. And I told my wife, I said, we got to do something different. We're either going to find a filter press, which those are no bargain. Just an entry level, I think it's a 5-inch. I think or is it a 5-frame 7-inch? I don't know. It's $1,500-$1,600.
yeah, I think they're the West Fab 3-bank
Yeah.
7. Yep.
And I got into that for $500. So
That's nice.
for a hobbyist, small producer.
Is there anything you don't like about it at all? Or is it pretty much the cleaning?
No, because I should have just got that out. I had this. Everything. This is the actual filter that goes in it.
Yep.
He's got an Orland sock, which we tossed ours at the end of the season. That fits directly over this. And then it's just like a filter press. I mean, you stir in your diatomaceous earth.
And how much is the correct amount for people watching that are going to be?
More is best. We found for ourselves with our niter amount that a 1/2 cup per gallon was proper.
Okay.
So my last run I did, I had 5, not last run, last time I ran it, I had 5 gallons, so I did like 2.5 cups worth. Flawless.
Ran right through. Nice.
I was concerned because if I put too much in, was it going to plug this all up? And you learn things as you go along. And
Believe it or not, the filter aid is actually what filters the syrup.
Right. And so it was, you going off of the recommendations, it was It was good. We got our syrup. This is a batch that I did before we figured out what we needed, and I don't know if it really shows much or not.
Yeah, we'll be able to see that there.
You can see.
Yep.
That's doing the recommended, which I think is like a 1/4 cup per gallon. This is a lot darker syrup, but that is
Clear bottom, no set. You can
Yeah.
see right there through
Yep.
that bottom that it's nice and transparent. And
So,
normal.
for a hobbyist, it makes you feel like a big boy. So.
And why don't you tell us how you came up with your name?
Right. So here's our label. So the Riverbend portion of it came. I was attempting to be a grain farmer for myself, and I decided that wasn't the route to go. Too much money, which this isn't much better, but it's more fun. And it's not as dangerous for the kids to be around and stuff. But anyway, so I was out plowing ground one night. It was about midnight, and my wife called, wanted to know how things were going. And I was over. There's about, I think it's about 1.5 miles across the field is a farm that my great grandfather owned, and so I would be the 4th generation there. And I was plowing down in the low grass right along the Elkhart River, and she called, asked where I was at, what I was doing. I told her, I said, hey, I'm in the bend of the river working. And I was talking to her, I was like, holy crap, that works, I like it. So I was picking the name out for my LLC at the time, and it was going to be Riverbend. I decided Riverbend Farms. That's what I went with. Fast forward to 2019, I think it is. I decided I'm done farming, had my fun. We're not broke, but we're pretty close. So, no, it wasn't that bad. It just felt that way. Decided to be done with it. My brother got married. He's starting a family, so help was the biggest issue. And we were partnered up together, and I'm not going to keep him from following his dreams.
Yep.
And we decided together, let's just call it good. We achieved what we wanted to achieve, and nobody lost their house. That was the big thing.
That's a win.
So after that, then that winter I tapped some trees again. Did 3 taps, and I guess to back it all up, as a kid, mom and dad and my grandparents always made it on the stove. They tap one tree in the yard, and they just add to it, add to it, add to it, add to it. So I've been around it on that aspect. My cousin, who's just to the south of me, across the field, he used to tap his whole woods. He had a 40-inch by 12-foot. It's a big old girl. Which it's still there. He offered it to me if I wanted it, and he's like, I'll make you a good one, but too big for me. But anyway, so I sit in his sugar camp as a little kid. My great-grandfather, back during, was it World War II when they had the sugar rationing and all that? Whenever that was the Depression era, it was that segment somewhere in there, but when everybody was making their own sugar. Well, I think they had rules on how much you could get, or sugar rationing, or something like that.
Imagine that.
But anyway, so he got into maple sugar, or making maple sugar. So he'd tap all his trees in his woods. He had a smaller camp. They'd make maple sugar, and then they'd give it to the neighbors, and they didn't have to buy store-bought sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he did that. Then it kind of fizzled out from there. Like I said, my grandparents made it on the stove. My folks made it on the stove. And along comes me. And we go three taps, because a little more is a little better. And liked it. Next year we jumped up to like 12 to 15 taps. And we did, gosh, what was that? I would say 3 to 4 gallons. It was 3 to 4 gallons off of those. And I was like, hey, this is good. We can make a go at it. So I was like, let's do some more. And my goal was to double every year. And miscommunication between my wife and I going to Sunrise Metal Shop to pick up supplies, files, and bags. I don't know. She says one thing, I say another. Neither one wants to admit who's wrong. But we ended up with 50-some spiles and bags, and it was like, we got them, put them in. then it led to that instead of a turkey fryer. And this year, I basically tripled in size this year.
Wow.
And it's a disease. It's fun though.
What do you have on the back of your bottles?
Oh, we have on the back of our bottles, we have a verse. It's Micah 6:8. It was a verse that my grandfather held very near and dear to him. And before he passed away in 2009, he passed that on to me and said that this is the way you need to go about life. And which I don't know how well it turned up in there, but it says, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God." He passed that on to me, and I have done my best to live up to that. Fall short many times, but we do our best. But anybody can implement that into their life.
Most certainly.
Just treat everybody fairly. Love each other.
Life's short.
Life's short. Have fun.
Yep.
This bickering that's going on in the world is stupid.
Uh-huh. We're all in the same boat.
Make syrup together, that'd be great.
Exactly.
So, but yeah,
couldn't agree more.
that's the skinny of it. Yeah. Now, this year, that's going to come up for sale, so we upgraded our ROs this year.
So what'd you upgrade to?
This beast of a machine over here, which was yours. It is a Model 250 year-run maple. So, you'll be able to tell me more about it than I can tell them.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot faster than mine.
I have a very serious love-hate relationship with that machine. I am glad that it's coming to a new home. I made the mistake of way undersizing. Mm-hmm. It's not any fault of the machines.
Right.
It's got quite a interesting history story behind the machine, which we can talk about after. But yes, it is going to suit you very well because you're getting, what'd you say, 50 gallons a day through that?
Yeah, that's at a 50
yeah.
50 flow.
So this here, with your 2.5% sugar content that you're telling me, with you bump this recirc all the way out and you squeeze this thing right down and run it at 250, you're probably going to be getting a half gallon to 3/4 of a gallon per minute.
That's going to be...
And it's going to take it to probably 7, I'm going to say. One pass.
Good. I'm happy at 7.
Yeah, and it might do more with 2, because it was taking... That's what I was doing with 1%, so you might get 8 or so, or maybe 10. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it does for you.
I'm a little more nervous to step on this one super hard because these bad boys are a lot more expensive than those.
Yeah, which I got a fun story about that after we talk.
I always figured if I blow one of those, I'm out $70, not what,
Yeah.
$200 or whatever.
Yeah, well, if you go with Carl, he was
Right.
$200.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had to pay $450 for just one of them. Yeah, there's H2O one in there. You got an MES and an H2O. So,
Side by side run.
yep.
So, yeah, it's going to be not a game changer.
For you, it's going to be.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's going to give me room to grow.
You're going to be able to process your same sap in the same day, because you were telling me you were well over a day behind. Yeah.
So I started the run, I gathered, I pull my truck tank in here, set the RO up on the back, and I go home. And I come back 5-6 hours later, and we get through my tank, and do it all again the next day. I'd boil what I'd RO'd the day before the next day, while stuff from that day was ROing, and it was just always a day late.
Yep.
Which this year was a real struggle because the temperatures got really, really warm right at the end. I mean, we had 70 degrees.
Yeah, 73.
So,
yeah.
That was a struggle. We put everything in the buckets. We cleaned out that old refrigerator over there, stuffed buckets in there. I even used a food grade tote, stuffed it up in the freezer, and you can freeze concentrate. You can freeze. It was a brick.
Really?
Yep, and so I was trying to move through it faster, so I let the pressure down, and I was coming out at 7.5 to 8% instead of 10. I put it in that tote, and I put it in that top freezer, regular refrigerator. It was a brick overnight. Well, I shouldn't say overnight, 24 hours, because I went to work the next day and came home. Went to boil. I pulled the stuff out of the bottom. I'm like, that'll be good. It's, it'll stay sludge. No, she was froze.
Wow.
So you can freeze concentrate. And I didn't think a self-defrosting freezer would do it. So, fun fact. You can do as Jim does, just don't do as I say, or vice versa, however that goes.
Yep.
But yeah.
What are you gonna do with all this stuff here?
Gonna have puzzle night.
Yeah, I labeled everything for you pretty good.
No, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So
where are you gonna be putting this?
we are going to do some revamping on the new office, which never became an office. I don't know if I can get my flashlight bright enough or not, but so we were gonna originally, when I got done farming, we finished off this old pole barn into a shop. We're gonna work on tractors, buy and sell. That's what we were gonna do. Well, that didn't work out. And here we are making maple syrup, better RO, and it's too heavy to take home every night. So it is insulated in here already.
This is nice.
So we're gonna put the electric over here, move it in here, swap this door out for a French door, so I can get my IBCs in here. I don't know, probably 2 to 3 IBC totes for raw sap, and a couple for permeate. And concentrate wise, the idea is, it's a mess in here. The idea is that this segment right here is going to be where the evaporator goes. There's room enough that I can go to a 2x6 comfortably and have enough space around everything. But we'll put the concentrate tank up on top of the office.
Oh, there you
so
go.
I'll just pump it straight up, and it's hammer down and go.
Perfect.
So I like this position because this barn sets north-south. With the peak there, it keeps from too much draft to the west winds and keeps stuff moving that way. Versus being on the other side of my shop, and I'll be blowing sparks, steam, whatever across the ridge. And
yep.
That's me.
It's a very valid point.
Sometimes, but
no, that's very valid.
Originally, we're getting ready to build a house outside here. So sometime in the next couple of months that starts. I was going to build a separate sugar house. It's a lot of money to build anything right now, and we got this. It works. We're not working on tractors. And the nice part is everything is over to the side far enough. I can still work out here. Yeah,
this is really nice in here, man.
Yeah.
These LED lights are sweet.
Yeah. Good old Amazon cheapies. So
Dude, it's nice.
Bright. I mean, you could almost do surgery in here.
It's nice.
So yeah, I like it really well. Bright was the big thing. Set it up so you don't have to have it super bright. You can cut half the lights out and dim it down. It's still bright. Nighttime, it's bright. It'll hit the woods south of here, which is probably 1,000 feet.
Wow. What do you use for spiles?
Sunrise Metal Shop has their own spile. It is a 5/16 spile. It's got this monster washer on it. I shouldn't say monster. What is that?
That's pretty big. That's an inch.
Probably an inch. So these go on what they call a wine bag. It's a double layer plastic bag, and on the back of it, it has a port that's about that size. And I guess they make wine for bag wine. I think that's what it is.
Huh.
So I don't know, but you have to take the cap off the back of it, and so this sets in your tree, and on average you're going to have about that much space right there. Depending on your tree, soft or hard, you're going to run into some troubles. But they're stainless. You
They're
buy
reusable.
them once, you boil them, keep them clean, and they'll last you forever.
Yep. They're real similar to that Sap Meister
Yes.
stainless ones, but
Yep.
they got a smaller washer. Those are for the bag holders.
Yep.
But that's a big washer. That's specifically for the wine bags.
Yeah, those wine bags, I think they're 3 gallon, which I think is the same as Sat
Yep.
Master.
Yep.
But you don't have to have the metal top.
Yep. It's just a bag, just pile and bag.
When I'm done at the end of the season, I go through and rip the bag
And they
off.
probably don't blow off compared to like the metal
Not
holders.
bad.
Like,
so I've been trying to figure out how to make life easier with these, because if you trim them according to what you're told, it's a real pain to get them on here.
I see.
Because the back of the plastic on that port on the bag will be super tight between the tree and this back side of the washer. So we started trimming them lower than what they say. Works good for us. Now, we've had some seriously windy days this winter. I did have some bags that blew off, like totally disappeared. But by them actually having the ability to move, tree rubbing was a big issue. You get a little sap in there and the wind blows, pokes holes in it. Had people's cats claw the bottom of them.
Oh my gosh.
We had some squirrel chews in the woods, which, you know, you understand squirrel chews.
Yep.
I'm not even on
Unfortunately.
tubing, I don't like those furry little boogers. Yeah, and then just dumb things like I got impatient. They froze up one night, and I was like, well, I can at least keep going. I'll break the ice in these things. And I used a rubber mallet, and I thought I was being super smart about it. Do not do that, because I punched holes in bags with the sharp edges of the ice. That was an expensive lesson. Kicker is using these over, I don't know what other people's stuff is. For me, this is a little over $3 just for the spile. It's a forever spile.
Yep.
But the bags are 65 cents a piece. So, and you throw those away, that's not bad, but what's a plastic spile?
Just say average of probably 30 cents across the board.
So,
you're gonna have some cheaper,
right,
some more, 20 cents, but I just say 30 on average.
So, yeah, I'm double your cost just on the bag alone.
Yeah.
So
the blue bags I think are 50 cents a piece though.
Okay, so that's still pretty.
So that's close. Yeah.
So I think going forward we're gonna switch over to tubing, but that's an endeavor on its own.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you are, predominantly flat.
Yeah.
The woods I really want to do it in, it's got about a 16-foot height grade difference between where you drive in and where the actual woods
It's just flowing the wrong way.
Yeah. So we're gonna figure that out. There's always a way.
There's always a way.
So, and I try in the meantime and not get kicked out of the house. This is the process. Like, this is a hobby. This isn't the lifestyle yet. So.
Yep.
But I did forget one thing on this label. I looked at it, saw it. We are Riverbend Maple Toe. We're out here where the name originated from, Riverbend in Riverbend Farms. This is the Elkhart River, and it snakes all around, but this field out to my right follows the curvature of the river. So this is the bend of the Elkhart River, so that's where Riverbend comes from. Down in here, we have 50 some taps at this point, with room to expand up to 1,000 easily.
Wow.
Because it goes way back, it goes over, and yeah, there's a lot of trees.
And that's your first tree on the line?
That's the one that we tap coming back in. It is big. It's the only 3-tap tree we do. I tap on the conservative side 1 to 2. I mean, for me, a 2-tap tree, my fingers are this far apart. I look for longevity.
Yep.
And it's a hobby, so yeah.
You're literally tapping on the river.
Literally.
That is cool.
Problem is, down here, this was my lowest sugar content bush that I have. It averaged, I started the season at 1.4, which was great. I was jumping up and down, dropped off to 1%. I even got sap that I ended up dumping on the ground because it was 0.2%.
0.2?
0.2.
That might be a new
I had
record.
0.6, and I was like, I was pushing. I almost dumped the thing because I mean, what is that? That's like 140 some gallons of sap.
I was
syrup.
0.8 for most of the season myself, so I can't even.
But so that RO, since I bought yours and I'm gonna do away with mine, I couldn't justify running it through my RO at that speed between the time it took to get it through to get it up to anything of consequence. It wasn't worth my time.
I see.
So I had to pull the plug on this. We got yard trees everywhere else, which were much higher sugar, and I just pulled the plug on this one because it just went to crap in a heartbeat.
Sucking all that river water.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that makes any difference or not. I will say that the trees that set with their roots in the water have more sap, and I'm sure it's because of that, but they never have high sugar content. So the trees that will be inland, I guess you want to call it, this all floods normally, but the stuff that's not right on the bank will always be 0.2 to 0.4 higher than the trees that sit directly on the river. It doesn't matter if it's a sugar maple or a red maple.
Interesting.
So yeah, we down the road, I don't know when or if, but down the road we would like to get into supply dealing, whether it's carrying spiles or bags or carrying Carl's stuff. I don't know if that'll ever happen, or even just having some parts on hand, because I have been talking to enough other guys in my area on that they're interested. The big thing for them is parts, and not everybody likes online ordering. A lot of the people I talk to are older people.
You have a big Amish presence here too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you can go. They're all over.
Yeah.
How
far are you from Shipshawana?
25 minutes.
Yeah. 25
minutes if the buggies aren't too bad. I mean, that's the truth of it.
That's funny.
So, yeah. Sunrise Metal Shop. Everybody's heard of their evaporators. They are 20-25 minutes away.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say 15-20. Yeah, that sounds
Which,
right.
they're my only sugar bush supply house that's close.
Yep.
So I use them for a lot of stuff. We buy all our glass from
Sugar Bush
Supply,
right by me,
Mason, Michigan.
Yep.
So yeah, that's about it. So there's definitely a need in our area. You talk to people and you listen to like the Maple Dude.
Yep, Tim.
Between the inventory and the small margin, I'm not sure it's right. It's not right for us at this point. So.
Yep.
But someday it would be nice just to have a few things on hand.
Yep.
Somebody's out working at night and it's like, oh shoot, it's 5:30, nobody's open.
Yeah.
Call me up and we'll get you taken care of.
There you go.
We're not there yet, so.
Yep. Very cool.
Once we live here, it's going to be better. Right now, I'm 3 miles from the house right now. So I live in town in Millersburg.
I see.
So once the house is built, we're here. It's a whole different ballgame.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful operation, and why don't we go grab some lunch?
Sounds good.